This is Hunt Nebraska, the official podcast for insight into Nebraska's hunting and shooting sports community. Be sure to give us a follow on Facebook, our space for sharing stories, information, tips, and techniques. Now, Hunt Nebraska.
Finally back in the Hunt Nebraska cabin here, folks, and been a while. We got a lot of things to talk about today. We're into the off season. Sad as it is, but I guess that you can look forward to the season yet to come.
For hunting, yeah.
There's plenty of other things to do outdoors, but it is Hunt Nebraska. So,
Yep.
But big holiday coming up this weekend. Are you guys prepared? Ready for it?
Yeah.
Thought it out?
Yeah.
Got a battle plan?
Think so. Yeah.
Think so? Good. We're going to give more ideas here in just a bit because Father's Day is not a holiday that you want to forget about.
Nope.
A lot of important dads out there. And hey, we were talking about before we started this one, down the road, might be celebrating Father's Day here soon or Mother's Day. So you're going to want to make sure that you know the right way to do it so that you can pass that on. That's something I think it's a learned thing, not necessarily just something that you're born with. But you've got a bunch of years of experience here. Jeff, how many years you been a dad?
26, I believe.
26.
Yeah.
I've got an 18 and a 16, so that adds up to 30-something right there.
Right.
Is that how it works? He just does that.
I'm going to give him that. I'm going to let him go with that.
Yeah. Definitely. You get credit for time served.
Yeah. And it's been the 26 best years of my life. There's no question about that. It's funny. You have kids. You can't imagine what life will be with them. And then about, a year down the road, you can't imagine life without them. I mean, that's just the way it is. So it's been pretty darn cool. No question about it.
I got to say, I never wanted to have kids, and life just kind of chuckled at me and said, your wife's pregnant.
Yeah.
And
you ever want to see God laugh, share your plan with him.
But it's one of those things, once I met my son, who is our oldest, I was okay with it. So okay that we had a second one. And then I realized, don't let them outnumber the parents and we'll be okay. However, there are some rights and wrongs to do with Father's Day, and we got to get into that just a little bit. Jeff, you get to kick it off since you don't get to talk on this topic very often.
I don't get to talk, period, very often. But anyway.
So ideas, let's hand it out.
Yeah, and again, to me, Father's Day is all about your time, right? The best thing you can give to Dad, you can give him a trinket and he can open it up, present, whatever, and those are always appreciated. But time is the cool thing because, as dads, we don't get to spend enough time with kids, especially spending time with kids doing things that dads like to do, right? Dad might be at all your games and all your horse riding and all whatever you do, but getting to do things that maybe is not something you spend as much time with Dad for is something that's pretty cool. Say taking the family to a park, for example. The whole family going to the park, be cool. Now, again, you maybe can't take Dad to a park, but you can recommend Dad going to a park and everybody spending a day at the park or a weekend or a camp out or what have you. To me, that'd be cool. And, hey, Dad, let's go to the shooting range. And to me, that'd be cool. Spend some time, some quality time, not just going in and sighting in and get ready for hunting. We've done that plenty of times. It's more of along the lines, let's go shoot and have fun, recreate, have a good time, and spend a couple hours at the range. And I think that would be kind of fun for Dad as well.
And if that includes a new shotgun, I mean, that's just...
And if it includes a new shotgun, heck, I'd be thrilled today with a box of ammo. Wouldn't have to be a new gun anymore. But yeah, if it includes something that Dad might use, that's always a positive too.
So, well, here's an interesting twist we can add to this. When's the last time any of us went to a shooting range? An actual shooting range, not in the back 40, because I probably do that more often than not. But when's the last time you actually went to a shooting range?
Last week.
Couple months.
Can it include archery?
Sure.
3 weeks.
Well, that's not too bad. I'm trying to remember the last time I went to a either staffed or organized type shooting range. I've been to some of the areas open to shooting and threw around some blue rock and busted some clays that way. But
well, and they bring up a good point because whether you're at a shooting range or, and I'm gonna get on my soapbox for just a brief second, but at that range or you're on a target shooting on a WMA or whatever the case may be, there's a certain way to go about it. There's certain kind of unwritten rules that you follow and whatnot that makes dad or any other shooter for that matter, happy. And there's certain things you don't do that annoy other shooters too. I think there's an etiquette. There should be like a book written, the unwritten etiquette of shooting range, or the unwritten book, the unwritten book. Yeah, the unwritten rules, the unwritten rules of shooting range etiquette. Because I think there's been pieces put together, but there's a lot more to it, I think.
Give us an example. What would be one unwritten rules that we need to write down?
Oh man, where do you start? Certainly, and of course this probably is written. I'd say safety is number one written rule, but those are written. Those are usually on a sign at most ranges. Here's one that really gets me, and I don't know if this happens, but if I'm out shooting, it isn't like I want you to come talk to me. I'm really focusing on shooting. It's not my time to sit and relax and have a conversation with. And I understand that it's contrary to some people because they're going to spend maybe the whole day out there. I don't have the whole day. I've probably been reloading for a few days. I'm out there testing loads or whatever. So unless I'm not shooting or not doing anything, I don't have time to talk. That'd be probably one of those unwritten rules for me. Is I don't have time to talk. I want to shoot when I'm shooting there.
You guys got any?
One that comes into my mind is people not being prepared for the type of shooting they're doing. So, and this can range from so many different types of shooting. But if you're shooting a rifle at a long range and you stop every 3 shots and you want to go retrieve your target, that's not helping the folks next to you. Bring a pair of binoculars or a spotting scope.
That's a good one.
But there's so many different situations where you could disrupt somebody else's shooting by not being prepared.
That's an excellent one. And some of those places where you provide your own targets, and there's a lot of those, is making sure you have the right targets and a way to hang it. I know I've also had to wait on some that they've got the target, and either they have to make it fit the situation, or they're just like, well, I didn't bring staples or pins or anything, so I'm trying to pull them out of the backboard. People have used in the past, trying to use some chewing gum to get this corner to stick down, or it's a little breezier than I thought. That kind of same vein, be prepared.
Or you're talking to Jeff, asking him to use a stapler.
Oh, now you're doing two things you don't like. You're talking to me, and you're using my equipment. But no, all fun aside, that is a good one, because I've seen that happen so many times where people are just you can't run a range because you just can't hardly get any shooting done because they didn't bring the proper equipment. They want to borrow yours, or they want to go to drive me nuts.
You remember the little storytelling here when we used to do some of those traveling camps. Partnered with the Nebraska 4-H camps here in the state. And you'd have always partnered the .22 range for campers right alongside the muzzleloading rifle range. And you'd have a shared, common firing lane and range and all that stuff. The backstop that we had to use was the same. And so you'd get those .22 shooters up there and they're pew, 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 pew. And pretty soon they've all gone through like 50, 60 shots. And they're calling for a range closure so they can go set up more blue rock or more paper targets or retrieve whatever they have and more balloons and this and that. And the muzzleloaders are over there thinking, we've only got like 4 shots off in this whole time.
Got a gun loaded.
Wait a second, we haven't even had time to load them up and shoot them. So you're exactly right. That does kind of.
Well, and the same vein, kind of along that same vein, just because you brought every gun to the range doesn't mean you should maybe use every gun at the range. Here's what I'm saying. Some guns are just loud and almost, startling loud to some shooters, right? And so, especially on an indoor range, if you're in an indoor range and you brought one of the loudest guns, I hear people are saying, Jeff, aren't guns all loud? No, there's some that are just shockingly loud than others. And they really just make it hard for the shooter in the next bay to concentrate, right? Because it's boom, boom, just rattling the ceiling, stuff's falling out of the ceiling, So, keep that in mind. If people are right next to you, maybe you save the big boomers for later or another day. If you got a lot of the people, especially if you see novice shooters, someone's trying to teach a youth or someone's trying to teach another younger shooter or a novice shooter in general how to shoot, put the big guns away, because that's only going to deter from what they're getting done that day.
Good ones. What about archery? What are some good rules to live by? Unwritten rules that we need to know.
Well, again,
the archery range.
Bring enough arrows. I've seen so many people show up at the range 3 arrows, and here I am sitting over there with just a basket full of arrows, and I'm thinking I'm here for the day. I'm going to camp here, and all of a sudden I've got 3 arrows off. I mean, I haven't even begun shooting. Those were just like arrows I wanted to get out of the way, and this guy's ready to go down the range again and pull his arrows, and I'm like, can you wait? I only have 1,000 more to shoot. Well, bring enough arrows, and I think at minimum you should probably have 6 arrows to shoot.
I'm just going to say, is there a magic number? Because obviously
6.
the other
6
end of it is
the
that
I
guy.
just said it. 6 is the magic number.
that guy with the bucket. No one wants to sit there for an hour as they go through all those and oh, that one's broken. I
Refer to rule number 1. Don't bother me when I'm shooting. No,
6.
yeah, I think
6
6 arrows is about right. Or once you shoot and you're waiting for the other guy, and yes, if the other guy's got a bushel basket full of arrows, he's going to be disappointed. But if you're shooting, the other guy's got 3 or 4 arrows, wait to go. Don't stand there tapping your foot. Wait, just back off and let everybody get done shooting, and we can go pull arrows. But but I've seen that especially right before hunting season, and people pull up a lot of times with 2 or 3 good arrows, and they want to shoot and they're in a hurry. I mean, they're all of a sudden they want to go pull those arrows because they're in a hurry. It's like, well, I've got 6 arrows to go, and I don't want to have to wait every 10 minutes or every 2 minutes to shoot them. So bring enough arrows.
I think the same thing kind of goes in line with that is especially novice archers. It can take a little while for them to shoot their arrows. So I think you need to be aware of the other people that are you're shooting with. Like Jeff said, you don't have to bother other people, but communicate with them so you're on the same page.
Well,
I'm just going to say communication can be key, so everyone knows what's going on. Nobody wanders down range at the same time. So some of that is got to be there.
Yeah, and that's another pet peeve of mine is use range commands. And when I'm at a range, if you're with me, you'll know I'm there because I'm using range commands, and I've done this ever since I can remember, cease fire, all right, guys and gals, let's put the guns up. I mean, I act like I'm the range master there, and I'm not. I'm just recreationally shooting that day, but it goes a long way. But if others would do the same, if they want to cease fire, call a ceasefire. If you want to go pull targets, call a ceasefire so everybody go pull targets and whatnot. But communicate to other shooters in the area what you'd like to do, and make sure everybody's on the same page.
I agree. Also, just being self-aware, self-conscious of what you're doing and how it's affecting people around you. So same thing, range commands. If you're ready to go down range, you see someone else not ready, just don't be annoying.
Yeah.
Just hang out, have fun.
Yeah.
And having fun's the key, right? These are just little annoyances we're talking about. Shooting sports are fun, and most of the time I'm at a range, I don't have any, these little things aren't issues. But when they are, sometimes it's like, golly, can't we just communicate better?
But
yeah,
Jeff,
absolutely.
you said don't communicate.
Don't talk to me.
Talk to
Don't
you.
talk to me. I like range commands. You
He's-
communicate with me, range commands.
Well, I think
He wants to be the communicator. He doesn't want to be communicated
right.
with. Yeah.
Right.
any established range will have their set of their basic range rules. So
Yeah,
if you're,
follow 'em.
that's your basic, if you're a new or experienced shooter,
Well,
you're
here's-
following those, you're doing at least the minimum right. But then now we're talking,
Yeah.
some of the other little things that are situational.
Here's one I think some of us run into, especially when you're going to a shotgun range or course, depending on what pursuit or game you might be playing out there. Cased or uncased when it comes to walking the shotgun up to the range?
Uncased.
Uncased, okay.
You mean when you mean like
You're coming from the vehicle.
the vehicle?
Yep, up to either the check-in, or even say you've already paid. Now you're getting that firearm from the vehicle to the shotgun range.
Can I change my answer?
Sure. Or you can say it depends.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here to have the discussion. I don't know.
I say case, but I don't have a whole lot of shotgunning experience on like a walking course. So I mean, I think from the vehicle cased, once you get started, maybe that's more discretionary. I don't know.
I want guns to come out of a vehicle in a case. And you can take them up to the line, uncase them up the line. I realize you got to do something with that case once you go up the line and put them on the gun rack there. But I'd like to see guns cased myself.
And I think this is one that back to what you were saying, Hunter, is you've got to kind of check what the rules are at the range. There are some that want to see it uncased,
And that's fine.
an action open, or maybe even what we call a CBI, clear barrel indicator, or something in it as well. And I know that one has caused some consternation on certain trap ranges and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. But I see that on any gun range. I'd rather see guns come out of the vehicle cased, come up to the range. Most ranges have, like Hunter said, rules to follow. Follow those rules, or don't shoot there. But if you follow the rules, those rules will keep everybody safe. But I like to see guns case come up and then uncase the guns, put them on a rack or whatever they have at the range, and then follow the rules for use there.
If anything, you can bring the case back to your vehicle. Usually there's someone else there that can watch your gun or whatever for a couple minutes while you run back to the vehicle and
Sit on it as a pad.
This
whatever
is
you wanna do.
this is a fun one because I see most rifle folks that are going on to either sight the deer rifle or burn some powder just for the heck of it through a rifle. They're cased.
Yeah.
Probably very much so with handguns and revolvers and things like that. Shotguns, though, you'll see a lot of those come out of the vehicle uncased.
Yeah.
And right onto either a cart or right up to the rack there on the range. And I think that's been a debate for some time in the shotgunning world on exactly how it happens. You know, at the Cornhusker State Games, or the Cornhusker Trap Shoot. I'm not sure how it reads up there. We might have to check into that. But folks, comment down below if you know or you have some thoughts on that, because that's that's an interesting one. That it is. Even at the national shooting competitions that we have, we rarely see a case shotgun. And here in the state of Nebraska, shotgun has to be completely loaded, but there is no case law. You know, where I grew up, it was, everything had to be case. So it was just kind of second nature to pull it out in the case. And I'm not arguing that point at all, but it is one of those things.
Unloaded, but not a case law in Nebraska.
Yep. So what other unwritten rules would we have? Because if we've got a book, as might have been suggested, that's several pages right there. What are some of the other things? Have eyes and ears.
I have eyes and ears, and that's critical for you to have eyes and ears. One thing that I always, and this is kind of an unwritten rule, but on an outdoor range, generally it's considered proper etiquette to clean up your brass. But on an indoor range, not always the case.
Good point.
And so understand what the rules are of the range. And again, it always boils down to what are the rules of the range that you're at. But, you know, indoor ranges, they don't want people walking around picking up brass and other people's
Safety
way.
issue oftentimes.
Yeah. But on the outdoor ranges, a lot of times that's the rule, pick up your own brass. And I don't like going to an outdoor range. And I've done this, you know, probably, you know, every month that I go shooting for many, many years. I don't like going there and walking over everybody's brass because somebody didn't pick. And usually it's just one, you know, kind of lazy individual who didn't pick up their brass. Now I get it. Maybe there's people who can't, and I understand that. But the reality of it is most people can pick up your brass, clean up the area so that it looks better than when you got there, and everybody should be good to go. Not always the case.
That's a huge pet peeve of mine, especially if you're making use of some of our publicly accessible grounds for target shooting where it's allowed and that type of stuff. Can't stand the trash that's left behind by those that are out there recreational shooting at times. In fact, I think we've all heard it. I mean, I think that really gives everyone that wants to do that and can do it not only ethically but responsibly and safely a black eye. I really do, because a lot of times when you hear about somebody out there recreational shooting, if they've got a gripe, the first gripe you hear is the mess. All the crap they bring out here and leave out there. Now, I make a mess, obviously. Love the shotgunning sports where it's just kind of a chaos, controlled to some extent, broken stuff, shells being flung everywhere, great. But hate seeing what's left behind if people don't pick up after themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of your ranges will have, you know, broom equipment to clean up your stuff right there for you too. So it
couldn't be any easier.
Couldn't be any
most
easier.
outdoor
Same
ranges
thing.
have the equipment there just to sweep up and pick up. Yeah.
Same thing goes with retrieving your targets.
Absolutely.
They make a mess too.
You hit the nail on the head. There's another one right there. When you're done shooting, after a safety ceasefire has been called, it's safe to go down range. People are checking their targets, and you're done shooting. Take your targets down. That's another thing I don't like. I get up to a range, nobody's there. I look down range and there's targets all along. So I got to go out there now and remove all those targets and put my targets up. And to me, it's just a lack of respect for the facility and the patrons of the facility. So pick up your targets. And certainly if you're out in one of our wildlife areas, that's trash. Pick up your trash.
There you go. All right, switching the question just a little bit here, but maybe not a whole bunch. For those that might be listening or watching us today, first of all, we appreciate you doing that. Give us a big thumbs up or subscribe. But also, if they've never been to an organized shooting range before that's staffed, that you've got to go do a check-in or something along those lines, it can be kind of intimidating. What do you think's the first thing they need to know to help and make it less intimidating walking up there?
the first thing to me is pretty straightforward, right? You've got, especially if there's people on the range, you got to pick a spot to go shoot, right? You got to pick a lane. And now organized ranges, they're going to assign you a lane. Unmanned or unstaffed ranges, you got to go pick a spot. And that might be a range full of benches, and you go pick a spot to shoot, or it might be just an area that people are out standing and shooting, and you've got to pick a location. Don't crowd people. I mean, it's like if you got 10 lanes and you go and there's only one person shooting on lane 1, don't go shoot on lane 2. Give that person some space, 4 or 5 lanes, whatever. It just don't crowd people, but kind of observe for just 30 seconds. Just see who's where. I've gone in, set up shooting before, and had some friends come up and set on lane 3, and I'm on lane 1, and then someone comes in on lane 2, and it's like you couldn't tell we were all communicating here, and we're using lane 2 for a storage bench and all that. And so observe the crowd, But anyway, once you choose a lane, You bring your gear out onto the range. You bring your firearms onto the range, and you're cased. And you can uncase those firearms and put them in a rack, and get your equipment set up on the bench. Your spotting scope, your rests, and all that kind of stuff. Your eyes and ears should already be on because you're on an active range. And then from there, and it's pretty simple. You set your stuff up, put out maybe some ammunition that you're going to use for your first firearm that you're going to shoot, and then communicate with other shooters. You can tell people are kind of getting done. So, don't bother somebody while they're in the middle of shooting, emptying a magazine or whatever. Let them finish that magazine, or let them finish the rounds in the firearm before you ask for a ceasefire. But when everybody's done shooting, most of the time they'll look at you and say, do you need to go down range? Yeah, okay, ceasefire. If not, just look at people and say, just wave at them and, point down range, and or I'd just say, you guys ready for a ceasefire so I can throw targets down, and pretty simple. Put your targets down, staple your targets on the backers, come back, and when everybody's back, everybody ready to shoot. Okay, great. All right, eyes and ears, and then it's a matter of getting on the bench and loading and firing. But always maintain safety. That nothing is going to get our shooters, our recreational shooters who are pretty serious about shooting sometimes. Some of those folks are not going to be real happy if you're not observing good safety rules. So make sure you know what those good safety rules are. National Shooting Sports Foundation has some good safety rule etiquette videos that you can watch before going to the range. I highly recommend those, and just practice good safety, good etiquette, and demand others do that as well. And I have no qualm by telling people, hey, when we're calling a ceasefire, no guns should be on the benches, or no one should be touching the firearm. And usually that's not the case. Usually our range folks are some of the safest people out there, but communicate, and people will respect that.
I think also, as I'm a very organized person, so I like when others are organized. I know I've been the person who's gone down range. Shoot, I forgot the stapler. Now I got to walk 200 yards back just to walk back. One of my first things is I get there, I get the gun situated, whether it's cased on a rack, wherever, and then I organize everything. Okay, here's my ammo. Here's what I need to go down range. Here's what I have this, and this. So when I'm trying to fiddle and do stuff for the first time, I'm not kind of scatterbrained and flustered.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got it down to a science on my range, and I'm pretty organized and methodical. So no one appreciates that when or the person who goes down there and puts out 60 some targets and goes into everybody's lane. Only put targets on the lane corresponds to your bench, and there's a backer for that usually at most ranges. So put those right on your the backer down range that holds up targets corresponding to your bench too. But yeah, don't dilly-dally. I think that's the main thing. Get down there, set up your targets, come back, communicate, and then have fun.
I think you both hit on some key things there. If you're a new shooter and you're worried about, bothering other people, not understanding range rules, and find a range that is more organized, has a range safety officer on board, and that person, the staff there will help you. They'll walk you through it. They're there for that reason, to make sure you're safe, make sure others around you are safe. So if that's your qualm, then start there. But going back to your visual cues, I think that's an important one. Talking, communicating to other shooters. Don't go up and touch another shooter while they're shooting. I've had that happen before.
Really?
That's an unwritten rule, but it shouldn't even have to be an unwritten rule, but it is.
Yeah, wait till that person's done shooting, and then everybody's going to have eyes and ears, so they're not going to be able to communicate as easily. So use visual cues, hand signals. I think those work well on the line for
good point.
For
I
at
want to
least
know
getting
how that
attention.
unfolded. That somebody walked up, tapped you on the shoulder, or
Yeah, it was on the shoulder. I was at a rifle range. I was actually a rifle shotgun range I was shooting, and they wanted to go down range. I think I had just shot, and they were trying to get my attention. And I mean,
I've
Yeah.
had the same thing happen too. Someone come
Really?
up to me. Yeah.
I've never had that happen to me. I can imagine it wouldn't go over well if it did. Now, when I'm shooting, I'm pretty
No.
serious, right? And I'm focused like a laser. I'm focused, and if someone broke that focus for me, which you guys know me, it's not hard to do, but if they broke that focus for me, I probably wouldn't be very happy because if you have to get my attention, you probably don't need my attention at that moment, right?
Yep.
And so now if I'm ignoring you, that's another thing, right? That's the other side of this coin is if someone new pulls in, you see them pull in, you're able to notice that somebody new pulled in. Don't just continue shooting, loading up and shooting and reloading and shooting. Get to a point, rather quickly out of respect for the new shooters that just pulled in so that you can call a ceasefire and let them go down range. Because the quicker we can get to nirvana where everybody's got their target set up and everybody's back at the benches ready to shoot, the better it's going to be for all of us. So don't ignore those shooters who just pulled up because they got to get their targets out and shoot too, right?
so we're back to communication.
Communication's
and,
key.
and planning and
Don't be
organization.
and people are afraid, it seems like, on ranges to communicate sometimes, right?
At
'Cause
times
it's
they
an
are.
awkward thing, but don't be afraid to do
Especially
that.
for new shooters. And I think, Hunter, you brought up an excellent point, is I think nowadays more than ever, ranges, for the most part, those staffed ranges are a little bit more open and friendly to new shooters. And if you tell them that this is the first time you've been there or you haven't done anything like this before, I think they're willing to make that offer or extension of a little bit more guidance. A lot of folks, when they show up, if they've done it before, they don't want that. But a lot of new shooters do, and I think that that is helpful. That way, they don't expect you to know everything. They're going to kind of help you walk through it, because I don't think anyone's out there not wanting other people to shoot. They just want to be able to do it like Jeff said.
Yep.
In rhythm, in time, organized, and that type of stuff. So
And that's something to keep in mind. Most shooters, they have limited amount of time. They've probably tried to get out to the range multiple times that week, that month, whatever the case may be, and this is the time they were able to get out there. So respect everybody's time, be respectful. But I don't know of too many ranges where if you're a novice and you need help, you have questions that some of the shooters who are out there aren't more than happy to help you. Because I've been there, helped many a shooter, so most people are more than happy to help.
all right, I've got to know. We'll do this by show of hands here real quick, or I guess not everybody's watching us on YouTube, so we might have to do it verbally as well. Next, target shooting, recreational shooting, whatever it is, just for fun. What's it going to be with?
Handgun.
Archery? No, don't shout it out. Come on, organize.
Communicate. That's what I'm trying to do, Archie. That's what I'm trying to do.
Rifle, handgun, shotgun, archery, muzzleloader. All right. So this is going to be the next time. You only get one vote. All right. So we'll start with handguns.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. 1, 2.
Yep.
All three of you. So we don't even have to go any further. The next time you go shooting, you guys are going to go handgun.
I got a Glock 43 as a wedding gift. Well, Tammy and I got a Glock 43 as a wedding gift,
Nice.
and I've only shot it once. Since
Hunter, you're
September,
living right.
so,
I'm just going to tell you right now.
my friends and family know me well, so I've got to get that one shot a little bit more. So
what a neat pistol. Yeah, get out there and have some fun.
Huh.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I'm not even going to ask him more. I was going to say shotgun was going to be the next thing. I know that's the next thing I'm doing. Yep, it's time to burn some powder, break some blue rock. Not just getting ready for the upcoming dove and teal season, all that stuff, but everything else that goes with it. It's a lot more social. I like the social part of shooting because I can't sit there and poke holes in paper. I just can't do it. It's just kind of like, all right, yep,
Hershey.
I can do that at home with a pencil. So, but it's got to be something beautiful and artistic and just shotguns are that. They are
Those are
poetry in
powerful
motion.
Words.
Well, yeah, shotguns
Handguns-
are powerful things. They are powerful, they
Controlled
really
chaos
can
is what a
connect with
shotgun
them
is.
and all that
Yes.
type. They're an extension of you rather than just a tool.
The same with
So,
handguns.
Handgun
Handguns
tools.
are a thing of rare
Tools.
beauty.
Tools.
A single action revolver.
Tools.
You just gotta. It gets me right here every time. Single action revolvers. But anyway, no, they're a thing of beauty, no question about it. So yeah.
So what are you going to be shooting here? You said handgun as well, Kayla.
I
I
did.
thought I might have a shotgun. Second vote for shotgun. I thought I had a third with Hunter, but my goodness.
It'll be close. Honestly, I'm not sure which one we're going to be doing. Kind of maybe a D, all the above. My friends just got engaged, and to celebrate it, we're having a range day.
Ooh,
And they just
okay.
got a
Full of
new
everything.
handgun. Yep. But I'm sure shotguns are going to show up, and the AK's going to be pulled out, and
So
you know.
you guys obviously registered at completely different places than I did when I got married.
Well,
I
don't
mean,
say you guys. I was never part of that kind of treatment by any means.
I mean, you got a handgun as a wedding present.
Yep.
This is wedding connected, and they're talking about getting a handgun.
Kind
Getting
of,
the
yeah.
hand-
The handgun was completely different from the wedding. They just happened to overlap. Yes.
They happen to overlap.
Yep.
All right.
now,
So-
I've said my bachelor party, which was with a bunch of just relatives. That came in
Well,
from all
get
over.
your finger on that button real quick.
No.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Hold on.
the day before the wedding, all the guys went out to my uncle's farm, and we did a bunch of shooting together. And I brought out my all bunch of my guns, and my relatives that came in from different states had firearms, and we had a day of it, and we had a blast. Pardon the pun.
Boom.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need that button.
We had a blast. It was a lot of fun. Uncles and
So
cousins and brothers. It
I
was
wonder if renewing of vows is worthy enough for someone in our family to get us a gun. Leslie and I might have to try that here in a couple of years. So keep your eyes out for an invite.
People are becoming more creative.
Yeah.
You see a lot of bachelor parties.
fun. I think a Glock 43 for a wedding
Lot
gift
of-
is pretty
yeah,
creative. I
pretty
think that's
That's pretty
creative.
good.
I think that's
pretty
pretty
good.
interesting. Now, do you guys ever argue on whose it is?
Tammy says it's hers. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm kind of leaning into it because then when we shoot together, she can use that, and I'll use my 19, and they're the same platform,
Yeah.
easy to use.
Yeah.
A Glock 43 is my concealed carry gun of choice, so
There you
it's a good
Really?
little gun. It is.
It's a neat little gun.
It
There's no
is.
It
question
is.
about that. That's a neat gun. Interesting. Interesting. Different twist.
Boy, I think I've lost control of this. This wasn't going shotgun like I wanted it to by any means. So when are we going to go shoot shotguns? We need to do that as a group.
August.
The Hunting
August.
Nebraska crew.
It's supposed to be lower temps tomorrow.
Oh, that's
There
right.
you go.
Our 180-degree day and a stretch of many triple-digit forecasts.
We'll only sweat
high, so-
one bucket instead of two.
Yeah.
or three.
Well, we are officed just about 100 yards from Lincoln Trap and Skeet. I mean, we're not very far from a
No,
shotgun range.
we have never made enough use of that.
No,
fact.
we have not.
To be quite
No,
honest
we have
with
our
you.
good friends over there, good group of folks, and we just don't get over there enough. That's for sure.
That's right. All right, what else? We got to get back to Father's Day. We've talked about ranges, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about that as we have entered folks into the off season and part of the prep for getting in tune for the upcoming one is burning powder, flinging arrows, that type of stuff. So more good Father's Day gift ideas, I think, is where we need to wrap this up with.
A tie.
No,
just
no,
kidding.
no. How many ties did you get your dad?
I
wanna know, all three of you.
I think growing up, I never bought my dad a tie.
Really?
But I don't remember too many times I saw my dad wearing a tie.
Did you guys ever buy your dad a tie?
No, my dad's a mechanic, so he'd probably use it as a rag if we got him a tie. So it would be a little cheaper
Never-
just to buy him some rags.
No any dress up times though. I've seen
No.
mechanics dress up pretty good.
No, I don't think so. Not that I recall.
See, my dad was a utility lineman. He was one that climbed the poles and everything like that. But that was traditional gift.
That's
Get
what
him
my
a tie.
dad did. That's what my dad did. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gotten my dad a tie either. He's a maintenance technician, so same thing as Hunter.
See, I think you
working
guys are
with his
stereotyping
hands
here.
Yeah.
I'm not getting into it, folks. I am not getting into that. I think tie goes around everybody's neck
But your
just
dads
as well
are just
as
thinking right now, God, I'd dress up if they'd only buy me a tie.
yeah. How about cologne? You guys ever gotten your dad cologne?
I think I have.
I think socks are probably
Socks?
socks are like the low that we've gotten.
The low.
The low.
Stoop
No.
down to that level.
Do you guys, and you two are probably too young, but I remember around Father's Day, they would have all sorts of cologne displays that had kind of fancy, unique containers that they were in. Do you remember this, Jeff? Mm-hmm. I mean, they'd be football shaped. They'd be, what else was there? I remember
Baseball.
one that we got my dad, that he was always saving the cologne for a special occasion, and I must not have ever met that standard because I don't think he ever used it. But it looked kind of like a construction worker. We thought it was a lineman, and he was standing there. It was probably about 18 inches tall, and you took off what looked like a hard hat. That was the only plastic thing on it. The whole thing was clear glass, and it was filled with this bluish green cologne.
You sure it wasn't a bourbon drink in that thing?
No, Mom wouldn't let us buy that type of stuff. But it was cologne, and I'm not sure what it smelled like because they all smelled like Old Spice or Brut or something along those lines back in the day. But I remember that sitting on his clothes dresser there for many, 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 many years. It might be in the will somewhere. But so socks, that's
going back to the cologne. I think my dad had a cologne that was a big buck
yeah.
of bottle.
See,
I recall now, but that was probably came from the 90s, so I would have been young if we got him that.
Saved it for deer
Father's
season.
Day. Yeah,
came from the 90s. Did you catch that?
Yeah,
The 90s.
I caught it.
Oh, boy.
I caught it.
Yeah, probably in a museum now.
might have been Doe Estrus.
Yeah, I have that same one. Yep.
So what kind of gifts did you get your dad?
Valuable time with him.
Valuable.
Yeah.
And what could be more important than valuable time?
I don't remember getting my dad many gifts for Father's Day other than just a fun day out doing this or that. My mom took over most of the gift giving. But nowadays it's more helping him out on their new pasture area. And last year I cut thistles for him, so
There
I
you
have to
go.
go do that.
That can be good. I spent a lot of Father's Day camping. It was either with the immediate family or extended family on that side. So
Pretty cool deal.
Bringing it back to this time, I think, when we talk about when we do our meat processing and sausage stuffing, a lot of the time we'll do that. We'll do one round right after deer season around Thanksgiving together. So we'll, mix sausage, make jerky, and smoke it. And I think typically in the spring we do it around Father's Day. Not necessarily always Father's Day, but that's kind of one of our traditions to do one in the fall, then the rest of the venison from the year before, whatever we have in the spring.
that's cool.
Very cool.
That would be neat. Jeff?
I have a hard time remembering the gifts I got my dad. I always tried to get something, I think. Yeah, and it might have been food. It might have been, time, like doing stuff. Boy, just, can't think of exactly what I ended up getting him. We always did something for Father's Day, and I always remember doing something, like with my father-in-law. I know we do like a lot of times we've done like fish lures and that kind of thing. My dad wasn't into that kind of stuff as much, but usually it had something to do with either food or just relaxing around the house, doing stuff around the house together, that kind of stuff.
Now, for Mother's Day, you often think of the traditional breakfast in bed, right? Get up early, the kids make breakfast, take it to Mom while she's sleeping, and a lot of moms would just like to sleep a little longer. But they love it and all that type of stuff. On Father's Day, it seems like sometimes it's just kind of like, Dad, now it's your turn to cook. We might have bought the steaks or something like that. Now fire up the grill and get to it. We're hungry. Because a few picnics out there, like I said, camping, that's all picnicking. But even when we weren't camping, there were times we just meet at a park afterwards.
We did a lot of
turkey
parks.
Yeah.
We did a lot of going to state parks for Father's Day or city parks, what have you. But we did a lot of times we go out to Mahoney, Platte River, just and cook out and do that kind of thing. Yeah, we always enjoyed that. That was always fun. We always looked forward to doing that too.
There you go. All right. So time. That's one of the top.
I think it's one of the best. Give Dad
Fishing,
your time.
Camping, head to a park, make them cook lunch, whatever it might be. Second, shotgun, right? We can all agree on that one. Maybe time at the range.
Time at the range.
It leads right into
Time
it.
well spent.
Oh boy, folks! I think we're going to need some help on this Father's Day thing.
And honestly, what dad doesn't appreciate getting their hunting license, their park sticker, or fishing license, all that, habitat stamp, get them set up for the fall. That's a great opportunity to give Dad what he doesn't have for getting him ready for hunting season, or like I said, take him to the park, get a park sticker, that kind of thing. Those are always cool gifts for Dad. So don't Nebraska Land Magazine, another cool gift for Dad that keeps on giving all year long. So some cool ideas from your Nebraska Game and Parks Commission.
And if you can't get that, a tie. That sounds like that's an opportunity right there that you guys have missed on.
I think if you fizzle out there, you haven't explored the full extent of our website. if you're back at the tie part,
I would put a gift card above a tie if all else fails.
yeah,
Well,
there you
gift
go.
card to a tie shop.
Now, if my daughter said, "Hey, Dad's Father's Day, you want to go to Shields?" I would be elated. You're going to Cabela's. I would be elated. I'd be thrilled to death. So don't rule that out either.
All right, I think we're gonna have to put the fork, the Father's Day fork, in this one right here, so we can get it edited and out the door, and perhaps get this week before Father's Day. But to all the fathers that might be listening out there, a big salute to you and all that you do, and getting your family outdoors and then some. So we appreciate that. And until next time. All right, really, guys, never given a tie. You guys have an opportunity here just to see what they say.
Hunt Nebraska, brought to you by your Nebraska Game and Parks Commission.